Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Scranton Prep Lacrosse. Joining us is the head coach, John Knowles. And John, a couple of years there at Scranton Prep, and you're excited in the second year for the Cavaliers about this lacrosse team.
Oh, absolutely. It's been we had a very good first year as a program. Enjoyed some success. Exceeded some expectations. So we're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. So we're excited for the challenge, and we off to a good start so far. So we're pumped.
John, talk about the getting started right from scratch with some of these guys when you're getting high school kids that don't know what lacrosse is all about, and then learning the game on the fly. There's a whole lot of extra time that these guys have to put in, not only on the field, but maybe when they're at home or on the weekend. They got to get used to that stick and carrying around a ball.
Oh, absolutely, and that's kind of been our biggest challenge, is just to show how many repetitions are needed, and that they need to be committed, just outside of practice getting it. It's kind of just like basketball, you can only shoot so many jump shots in a 2-hour practice. You got to put the time in your driveway or in open gyms, and it's the same thing in lacrosse. You got to put the work in with your stick. Your stick skills are going to take you very far. We've been pretty patient. We knew that there were going to be some mistakes early on, and we just asked the kids, we'd rather see you do it the right way and make a mistake than do it the wrong way. So as long as they're trying to make the right plays and do the right thing, we'll work through those mistakes.
John, tell us a little bit about the background of you playing lacrosse, where you're from, and here you are in northeastern Pennsylvania showing some young men about the game that is awfully popular.
Right. I didn't actually grow up here, but I was born in Scranton. My family's been a part of the community for a very long time. Even just at Scranton Prep, Matt Knowles was a big basketball player there. So we've been around. I grew up in Syracuse, New York, though, which is a big hotbed nationally for lacrosse. Enjoyed a nice playing career. I got into coaching a few years ago at a school in Connecticut called Cheshire High School. They won a state championship in 2010. Was there for a few years, and a job opened up at Scranton Prep. My family kind of moved back here, and it all kind of fell into place for me, and I've enjoyed it so far. The school's great. I got the best athletic director. Father Keller, Matt Bernard have been very helpful and supportive, and I really couldn't ask for a better place to be.
We're talking with John Knowles, Scranton Prep Lacrosse here at the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Locations in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Kingston, Hazleton, and Williamsport. John, when you talk about getting coaches in northeastern Pennsylvania, it's tough, I'm sure, for some programs because not many lacrosse players around. But, again, you hear from guys like yourself, hey, I was in Syracuse, I was in Albany. You're grabbing guys that maybe played in other areas.
Right. I have an assistant coach now. His name's Taylor Nelson, who is from Downingtown, big football school. You might have heard of Downingtown East. Was a big-time player there, and he actually played at the University of Scranton. So he was probably one of their better players they've ever had. And I've been pretty lucky that the last 2 years I've been able to get a kid from college who's enthusiastic, who's ready to go and ready to get this coaching thing started. And they relate pretty well to the kids, and Taylor's done a great job. The kids really like him, and that's what you got to do. I think lacrosse is still it's growing, but still such a small game that there's a network there that if you use it right, you can be pretty successful.
John, let's talk about your field, your team that hits the field, that is, and first let's start on the defensive end for the Cavaliers. Tell us about some of the guys that you expect big things from this year.
Oh, sure. I think defense is our strong point of our team. We got 3 big boys down there. A kid named PJ Zaccanino, who's a senior, has been playing for a while, does a good job for us. Cale Wylam is a great player. He'll be playing in college someday. Then we got a young kid by the name of Brendan Betty, who just switched to defense this year, but has already been one of our better players, really athletic. And our goalkeeper, Mike Golden, he's up to about 15 saves a game in our first 3 games. And he's probably been our most improved guy thus far. And defensively, I think we just try to keep them real aggressive, and kids don't have any problem doing that.
And then in the middle of the field, you need a guy who's got great range and able to do some good things and quote-unquote carry a big stick around because you're going to need to use it there in the middle of the field to cover so much ground.
Oh, absolutely. Middle of the field, the midfielders, they play both ways. We got a long stick midfielder by the name of Danny Horvath, who will be joined by a kid named Hunter Mulligan, who you might remember from the football team. they'll be back, and that's what we exactly look for. Someone who's really aggressive, who can take the game over in between the restraining boxes, in between the two offensive zones, and they both do that. And then offensively at the midfield, we have some really good players too, who are really coming into their own. Chris O'Brien is a sophomore, who's about 6'4", big tall kid who's really starting to get it. And we try to put some athletes up there, and they've really taken to it. Midfield's tough. You're doing a lot of running, but that's why we got to get some depth.
And what's it take the ability to score? Because you got to have some good toughness, I think, because guys are always whacking at you, and you got to be a physical player on the offensive end.
Oh, you do. And offensively, people that are new to seeing lacrosse think, everyone immediately thinks that it's like hockey, which is true. There are similarities between the two, but really, if you watch an offensive game, the offensive side of the ball, rather, in lacrosse, it's very similar to basketball, and you'll see a lot of back screens, a lot of clearing out, a lot of isolations from the wings, and we're able to go from behind, not like in basketball. So, we try to keep it the same. We try to keep kids watching basketball games even, and seeing the angles and the cuts and the off-ball screens that they make. And certainly the physicality is part of it, but offensively you're looking more finesse and moving the ball quickly and moving your body quickly so they can get the ball in the net.
John Knowles joining us here on the John Mendola Show. Scranton Prep Lacrosse. John, when you talk about the league this year, tell us about the teams that are in it and where you guys kind of figure in that mix. I think Delaware Valley is one of those teams that's been around for a little bit of time, and they've done a nice job the last several years of growing so quickly.
They have. Jeff Kozolski is the head coach there, and he's done a real good job of making an out-of-conference schedule that's pretty difficult. He's tapped into the youth. Has really gotten a lot of youth numbers there, so by the time he's getting kids, they've got 5-6 years under their belt, and that's kind of what we've tried to do here. The youth program in Scranton in this area has really gained numbers, and I think they're an example of if you do that and you get kids playing young and interested in it young, it's going to pay off when they get up to the varsity level. We're right in there. Dallas is a very good team. Crestwood has a very good offensive team this year. Some really good players. North Pocono just beat Lake Lehman the other day, so they're obviously improving. Lake Lehman's nothing, they're no slouch either. They got some really good players. So, it's still new and it's still learning, and certainly, out of our conference might be a little more advanced, but we have some players here too, in Northeast PA and in the Wyoming Valley Conference, and I think it's going to start showing when we go to other areas, and our players are hanging with them.
Well, John Knowles, a bright future there at Scranton Prep as the lacrosse coach. And as you said, you got some big physical kids. I saw them there at Scranton Prep. So it should be a great year for you guys and growing and being the best you can be. So we wish you well, John.
All right, thanks a lot. And I forgot last time, I got to give a shout-out to our Scranton Prep girls team who just played their first game the other day. And Coach Narrow and Coach Connolly are doing a great job, and our girls are really excited to get started.
All right, so pretty popular at Scranton Prep. The guys are doing some great stuff, and, of course, the girls at Scranton Prep playing some lacrosse as well. That's John Knowles, Scranton Prep boys lacrosse coach here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.